So you've been here for 1.5 years. So what attracted you to come to Korea in the first place, and how did you prepare before coming to Korea?
Well, as a digital device company in the medical sector, we were actually not really looking at Asia yet as a startup, maybe more looking towards United States. But on the other hand, what got us interested in, as we heard, there is quite a big network or ecosystem with startups in Korea, and also that the government is investing quite heavily. That was actually in connection with a startup challenge, the reason why we put Korea on the radar.
Any other aspects that you heard about Korea or in the news or something? Was there anything else that comes to your mind?
Yeah, as we did our homework and really got more deeper into the market, there were several points. I think one thing really which was important for us, as we are in the AI, smart device and wearable topics, Koreans, or at least that's when we studied it, were quite technology savvy, like 95-97% smartphone usage. So the penetration is really great here, and also realizing that a lot of topics, being it technology companies, are really concentrating in Seoul. So that was really also a topic where we said, oh, we are visiting a country, but actually we are really going to one big city.
So, okay, so that was what you were expecting in Korea after seeing the news. So how was your first impression then when you actually came to Korea? Any other, like maybe the hospitals or any other area that stuck to you?
Well, as our idea was, there is a big hype about technology, AI, and really a modern city, and also we heard that the government is quite heavily investing in Korea, being it in sustainability with the Green New Deal and other technology, the big fourth industrial revolution, the transformation in the digital industry. We were really excited coming here and seeing what's really on the ground. So once arrived, of course, making our way through this jungle, it was not all that easy as we thought. Of course, one thing, also the language barrier, which was an issue. So in that respect, we built up our network step by step, maybe more with also more international people who might have studied abroad and came back to Korea. So the startup ecosystem is actually really helpful. If you get the connections there, tap into that, people are very open to get to your next contact and open doors.
So now, considering these experiences you made, what would you do differently now if or what would you advise a foreign company now wanting to come to Korea to, concentrate on first? How should they navigate this jungle, as you said?
I guess I would much earlier have Korean partners with me, or I would probably also connect with the Swiss embassy, who could open doors. When we talk connecting with the big chaebols like Samsung, LG, SK Telecom, which have really some nice projects like in the R&D, like projects with grants where you could connect, being from a university, from a startup together with the bigger ones. There it's really necessary if you have some strong partners opening the doors or also supporting you with meetings or interpretation and so forth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then what areas in the ecosystem, what areas have you explored? So you're in Seoul or around Seoul, what can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, one thing is for sure medical ecosystem, basically the hospitals. We visited many of the big hospitals which are located in Seoul. On top of that, the Pangyo Valley, which is in the outskirts of Seoul, they call it the Techno Valley, and there you find the Kakao Talk, or you find their SK Telecom or Naver, but of course also a lot of startups that you can connect with. With that said, I would say there is much more to explore. There is also like ecosystem in AI, which I personally have not seen, but the vibrant economy actually plays in Seoul. If you are in the fintech industry, you will go to Yoido, or if you're in the bioscience, you will go to another place. So there are these clusters where you can connect with.
Okay, great. Maybe we can talk about cultural similarities or differences. You can mention, the work culture. Is it very different to the Swiss work culture, and also communication-wise, how do Korean communicate? How do Swiss communicate?
Well, communication or culture-wise, I would say, being Swiss or coming from the Western work environment, Asia, specifically Korea, is almost 180 degrees opposite. So I want to give you an example. I did a lot of projects, so project management thing and planning is really close to my heart and going through things diligently. But working with Korean people, it's often like, oh, let's do it last minute, or yeah, we will find a way. And at the end of the day, miracle, something is there, a result will be there. But this is something, I guess, which is kind of a negative surprise, but you have to, I guess, sail around it and just make sure that you have a team around you, or you connect with people where you see that's quality there. Otherwise, you will stumble. I mean, this is something which I would kind of shout out a little bit of warning.
Well, thanks for the warning. Maybe also, is there anything in communication, or like communication, or how Korean communicate when you have meetings? So now, not just setting up, like a project, but also day to day.
Of course, if you look at the Korean work environment, especially in the big conglomerates, they have a very hierarchical system, and so you would wanna really reach to the person who has decision power and not go through all the steps. Maybe another topic which you need to be aware, it's still a man's world in Korea, I would say. With the younger generation, it's slowly but surely changing, but this is something where you might also think about how to tactically approach if you go into negotiations or if you have meeting, not that the woman CEO is taken for the secretary and the assistant is taken for the CEO or things like that. These are culture things where you might only get into once you have a bit more experience and have your foot set on the ground.
Okay, Claudia, so thanks for sharing your experiences. So now, are there any learnings? Is there anything that you experienced here in Korea that you take home in some way, whether it's personally or as a business, to share with us?
Well, one big learning in a way I take with from the Korean society or culture is trying much more, being in a way proactive and not planning everything to the last detail. I think that is something I'm taking it as a personal and maybe also in a business way. And the other thing, the Korean society and culture, how fast or how much more advanced they are in many things, being it in the technology, but in all other things maybe less. But this said actually gives a great picture to immerse yourself in new ideas and open your horizon and just to create new things and just being always on the going. And this is something I wouldn't want to miss if I think of sometimes environment which are kind of stalling. So this is something which I really appreciate from Korean society.
Maybe we're going to wrap up. So just, is there any one thing that you want to underline, or like something that, some message for startups, just, that you want to share? One last sentence or something.
Well, as a startup, if you come here, of course, you want to find out, you want to do business, connect, but for sure there is many, being it culture aspect or not to miss the food, which is really big time here, and many things to enjoy, being it culturally or the nature, which Swiss and Korean share the hobby of hiking. So many things to explore right here.